Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Anime Night in the Dojo. Today's featured show, Dandadan, Season 2.
Yep, Dandadan, Season 2, Episode 8. Welcome back to the dojo. Ryu. That's Age. We're back from our Anime Night in the dojo, and, well, last week we got left on... You guys know how whenever you see, like, a music room, and especially any kind of Japanese anything, anime, manga, whatever it is, they always have all the greats on the wall. And it's always the same, like, collage of the greats. They're always in the same order from left to right. If it's, like, across the top of the room, like, you know, if you've ever been, like, when we were kids, we had, like, in our math room, we had, like, you know, pi. It was, like, stretched across the top of the room, like, going around all the way in a circle. Or in a square. But, cube. Whatever. But either way, it's always those guys. And that's what we got left on. So, Okarun and Ira's training will be fighting the... musical greats, or these apparitions, whatever they are, that took on the guise of said greats. So that should be fun. Learning tempo. We talked about sound a lot last week. That was cool, and that coincided with all of that. So that's kind of an interesting way to go about that. So Okarun needs to up his tempo game. He needs to up his APM, man. That's what it is. He needs to be a higher APM player. Oh, man. But anyway, yeah, that's where we're at. We're in the training bit, and see what comes of that. We still have to figure out how we're going to get the evil eye under control. We've talked about that ad nauseum at this point, so we'll just have to see what flavor of resolution we get out of that whenever it comes to. And then we're still waiting on, like, the main cast, the other main cast guy that's going to be part of this, that's in the OP and the ED. So we're waiting on him as well. So anyway, other than that, we don't have a huge amount to say going into this week. We just gotta see where it goes and wait on that final arc that's apparently ridiculous. That wrapped up this week, I believe, in the sub. So yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I believe it's done. I wasn't really paying too much attention, though.
Yeah, I think most of that stuff wrapped up this week, so at least for the sub. But anyway, we're going to push some buttons, set up the timer stuff, and then for the discussion and review, as always, we'll see you on the other side of the edit for that, people on YouTube. So here goes something. Well, alrighty then. You guys ever get a more ridiculous freeze frame, let me know. But she did tell him that the rest notes would, you know, freeze him, because... all of them were on point musically for what they were doing. So, yeah. I mean,
yeah,
what more could you want? Accuracy? That's crazy. Why would we be accurate about anything around here when we could have magic bullets and physics that don't make sense and motorcycles that don't explode when they're supposed to?
Yeah, his voice even got pitch shifted when he got hit by the high note.
Yeah, so, I mean, why would you do accurate things? That's crazy. Even if you're in the middle of a ridiculous, grandiose madness, being accurate is still very important. Like Archer being a Rain Man for bullets. That's never not going to be one of the more impressive things in all of fiction. I'm pretty sure even when he was, like, recounting the amount of times he'd been shot since the beginning of the series, he was correct. They didn't just throw a random number out there. I believe he was shot 37 times to that point in the series. Twice in the exact same spot in the foot by Lana. So, within mere seconds. So, either way. But, for this, I mean, the ridiculousness was there. The classical overtones for what they were doing with these characters were there. The sound design was there. Them going into the different classical songs for what they were doing was impressive. The fact that they actually did that stuff with, you know, to like counter Arya with like littering the battlefield with their notes and stuff like that. You can till a field in many different ways. You could do it with bullets if you really wanted to. Just saying. Tilling is tilling.
Yeah. All you have to actually do to till is just disrupt the soil.
Yeah. So
yes, while it's very inefficient, you could totally kill it with explosions.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like goblin fishing poles in fantasy. Most of the time it's dynamite. You can fish with dynamite. I mean, you could fish by electrocuting the entire lake. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? So there's many ways to do various activities in this case. But I mean, just the grandiose nature, the ridiculousness, how they pitch shifted everything, how they decided to use every active color was impressive off the grayscale, how they were handling that. You know, not only did it probably save some budget, but these kinds of sequences really make the characters stand out for what they're doing. So that was cool. The arena that they were in was ridiculous. I mean, just some of the friendly fire stuff that was hilarious. This guy doing his thing. I mean, it was all there. It was everything that it needed to be.
Still
Color
good.
coordinated wise, the classical music from each relevant era. When they did the backdrop of each one of the greats, they were in the backdrop of their home region, basically. So that was attention to detail, and it was impressive. So I really don't have a huge amount more to say about this one because it was just a big spectacle-y fight with ridiculous overtones, and that's what you come to expect for most of the fights in this show. And some of the just side stuff, like, you know, the Mantisians going home by warping a quarter of a block over and then descending back down. You know, it's madness. So that's everything you want. And then you have the, you know, character development for pretty much everybody that needs to be. And Okarun even called Gigi out by his full given name. How about that? That'd be like if somebody called out Michael Gary Scott. I want to fight you in the parking lot. You know what I mean? Just full on Dwight Kurt Schrute. Pulling out all the names, man. They middle named you. So they didn't middle name Gigi, but maybe he doesn't have a middle name. It's more of a Western thing. But
yeah, as far as I know, most Japanese don't use middle names. Like some do that have like some Western lineage, but for the most part, no.
right. So either way, the hilarity was there all the way up to Turbo Granny messing this up and, you know, playing the piano again. We mentioned there at the end of the reaction about how, you know, these kinds of spirits are just kind of atypical for what's going on, like human emotions manifesting into the thing that they actually fear, which, you know, in the case of this, when a kid walks into a feel the pressure of, you know, trying to be, I don't know, it was never really one of those things for me because, yeah, we had pictures of the greats in our music and stuff like that, but it was never really like pressured upon us like, hey, you know, the greats are watching you, so make sure you don't mess up. It's like, we're like 8. What the hell do you want from us? We're just doing clarinet practice, okay? We're not performing for a multi-million-dollar orchestra. You know, the next whatever. So it was always just kind of weird. It's like, yeah, you want to do your best, but holy crap, you're not going to be freaking one of the greats when you're 8 and you're just like playing in a school like mandated music class.
What do you mean? Most of the greats were greats when they were friggin' like 8.
Yeah, but you know, that different times and all that. But either way, cardboard looks like we're gonna lose the cardboard based on the freaking preview for next time. So I guess they're gonna have to rebuild the whole house. But Okarun is ready to fight now that he has his own tempo, which I guess he's going hardcore rock tempo. Which there's a lot of, you know, tempo in songs that move that fast. I mean, we talked about Fire and Flames when they first did that whole thing a couple weeks ago with the rock concert. I mean, keeping tempo with that kind of song is insane, even just instrumentally, let alone physically moving that fast. So, you know, he's probably unlocked like 20% of Turbo Granny's overall power at this point, right? So he's going the Deku route. At some point, he will be as cool. as Turbo Granny was. But
Yeah, we still don't even actually know like the full scope of Turbo Granny's power. All we really know is just that she was capable of moving fast.
yep. But I assume we're obviously going to get that the fight with the evil eye that we got left on here, and the classic punch, and just yep, there it is. That's how you freeze frame it, right at the end there. Yeah, as long as Gigi doesn't go to school looking like that, as long as he puts some clothes on, then it'll just be like an emo phase, right? You got like a neon tattoo in the middle of his forehead. Matter. But that's a curiosity for next time. Is like, is it like trying to acclimatize the evil eye to not wanting to kill people, so he has to be out there, or what?
Well, one of his whole things was just wanting to play with the other kids and just be able to socialize because he was imprisoned his whole life.
Right. So I guess that'll be the compromise of, well, you can go to school for me then. I'll just be in here if you need me for something. Or Okarun will kick your ass. So that was one of the things that we discussed as being one of the possibilities of getting the evil eye under control while being a vehicle to making Okarun, progress in his power scaling. So we have it. But either way, it should be interesting. It's obviously probably not going to be as lengthy of a fight as this episode with the musicians. Bleh. But it'll probably still be reasonably spectacularly. You know what I mean? And then we'll get the aftermath of them wanting to obviously rebuild the house that they're probably going to finish destroying, and then whatever school shenanigans are going to occur will probably segue into whatever that. Well, we know what the final arc for this season is, Kaiju. But other than that, we got to get the other character, which I believe was in episode 9. Here's when he got introduced. So that's next time. So got all kinds of stuff going on next time, I'm sure. So
you mentioning the Kaiju arc reminds me of one of the things that I didn't notice first time through, but that I realized later. They did it again, teasing the next arc villain.
oh yeah,
When Ira and Momo were in bed last episode, in their sleeping bags, where Ira was talking to her and stuff like that. Momo was reading a Kaiju manga.
oh yeah, right. Just like before when Okarun was reading about the worm.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's the subtleties are there and the attention to detail is there, and it's always impressive. So once again, the grandiose ridiculousness, the just over the top shenanigans, you gotta appreciate it, and the attention to detail of all things that make sense. So there you go. I'll be looking forward to the last bit of the season here, because I know it gets ridiculous. I have seen a couple random, not super major spoilers, especially for the other character that's going to be introduced, because he gets memed on pretty hard. But there wasn't really any spoilers. It's just him getting memed on. So,
yeah, I know he's a big comic relief character. That's really all I know about him. I don't even know. I don't even know if or what powers he potentially gets. I just know that he's one of the main cast characters, and that he's generally the big comic relief character of the crew.
Right. So either way, that's all I really got for this week. There's nothing really to hyper break down or talk about any more than we already have. So anything else, Age?
The only other thing really worth mentioning, I guess, would be we haven't really seen her training or progressing or anything like that, but Ira has gotten significantly stronger than the last time we saw her fight.
Yeah.
Before, she was capable of controlling her hair and moving pretty fast and stuff like that, but she wasn't capable of doing nearly the kind of things that we've seen her do in this fight. We've never seen her be able to extend her hair to that length, or doing any of the shit she was doing with like fully not just blinding, but like freaking even completely wrapping up the one giant's face.
Yeah, that was not a small amount of hair, so it's definitely fairly impressive for what they were able to do here. So just have to assume that she's making progress off screen, and then with this like bit of Turbo Granny training that we had here, with all the madness like that.
The other freaking random Ira thing was you mentioning like characters getting memed on. Freaking I keep seeing a lot of people commenting about how making the joke of the fact that freaking Ira's clearly meant to be a Dex build, yet she keeps ended up being the party's tank because basically every fight she gets freaking massively clobbered by something or other.
Yeah, it happened again. So, anyway.
Her introduction to the series was taking a pan to the head.
Yeah, just right to the back of the head. So, some interesting stuff next week coming up as well, so looking forward to that. But for now, we're going to leave it there. So, ladies and gentlemen, people of YouTube, beyond whoever you're watching, we always appreciate you stopping by and hanging out with us here in the dojo for more Anime Night in the Dojo. And this was Dan to Dan, Season 2, Episode 8. So, have a good morning, evening, afternoon, whatever it is for you. Have a good one. We'll see you next time.
Hey everyone, Victoria here. If you enjoyed the video, please consider pushing those like and subscribe buttons. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thanks again for your time, and we hope to see you again in the future.